Maingaining is the way to go. You do not need to bulk. You have no muscle and you want some. You don't need to suddenly eat more. You do not need to suddenly add a bunch of calories to your diet, not even 100 or 200. If you're holding the amount of fat that you want and you look the way you want and you just want more muscle, just keep eating the same way. You don't need to say, oh, now I want more muscle. I'm just going to eat 200 or 300 calories more a day. Don't need to. Not necessary. You do it, you're gaining fat. Don't need to gain fat to gain muscle. Don't need to gain fat to gain muscle.
The thought of thousands of skinny teenagers watching Greg Doucette and actually taking his advice fucking keeps me awake at night. How this clown can sit here and seriously tell you that you don't need to eat more to put on muscle just blows my mind. Let me try to explain this as simply as I can. For generations now, it has been well understood that the number of calories you eat can put you in one of the following 3 states. You can be in a surplus, in a deficit, or at maintenance. When it comes to bodybuilding, these 3 states translate into 3 very clear strategies one can use to develop their physique and change the way they look. We have bulks, where the goal is to gain muscle with a calorie surplus. We have cuts, where the goal is to lose fat using a calorie deficit. And we have recomps, where under certain circumstances, one is able to extremely slowly trade little bits of fat for little bits of muscle by staying at maintenance. Bodybuilders use a combination of these 3 clearly defined strategies to slowly develop their physiques over time. Whether you are conscious of it or not, by definition, you are always in either a surplus, a deficit, or at maintenance. Any surplus is a bulk. Whether it's 100, 500, or 1,000 extra calories, you will put on weight over time. Any deficit is a cut. Whether it's 100, 500, or a 1,000 calorie deficit, you will lose weight over time. If you are at maintenance, no matter what you do, you will not gain or lose weight. All of this is very simple, very well defined, and makes perfect sense. Then, suddenly, Greg Doucette starts making videos and for no reason whatsoever decides that he needs to invent a 4th term, Maingaining. The problem here is that Greg takes this completely made-up word and without ever providing a clear and consistent definition, just nonchalantly recommends it to his entire audience. This fantasy that Greg preaches is to get yourself to the body fat percentage you want to be at and then simply build muscle from there without ever putting on any extra fat. This way you never have to bulk and you never have to cut. In fact, Greg will fiercely attack bulking and cutting at every opportunity. Alright, so how do you actually gain? Well, depending on which Greg Doucette video you stumble upon, Maingaining could mean eating at maintenance, it could mean a 30 calorie surplus, or a 100 calorie surplus, or a 200 calorie surplus. And this is where the true issue lies. You can't just make up a word with a definition which varies depending on what's convenient on the day and recommend it blindly to the millions of novice lifters watching your channel. Is Maingaining a recomp? Is it a very slow bulk? Is it a moderate bulk? All of these will have different effects on different people. But the worst scenario by far is when some skinny young guy with no muscle starts watching Greg and gets convinced that he's going to be able to build muscle without ever eating more.
You have no muscle and you want some, you don't need to suddenly eat more.
You can just stay lean and gain your way to a jacked body without ever bulking. And let's be honest guys, how many of Greg's viewers are young skinny guys with no muscle? I would be willing to bet money that it's the majority of his audience. And at the same time, you have Greg also saying ridiculous things like not having abs makes you fat.
If you can't see your abs, then you're fat. Oh my God!
So really, once you see through it, it's so obvious how his messaging, literally by design, is keeping his viewers small forever. You want me to let you in on a little secret? You want to know why Greg himself is able to maintain a jacked 9% body fat physique year round and just main gain from there? It's because he's on anabolic steroids. Anyway, that's enough complaining. How about I actually suggest a solution? Well, here it is. Step 1, forget about the word main gaining. Step 2, figure out which of the 3 well-established calorie manipulation strategies will work best for your situation and your goals. If you are skinny and looking to put on muscle, your best option is 100% to bulk. Get yourself in a consistent and long-lasting surplus so you can increase your body weight over time. As long as you are training hard and the surplus isn't excessive, most of the weight you put on can be muscle. If you are overweight or obese, let's say over 25% body fat, the solution is also obvious. Go on a cut. Reduce your calories and do so consistently until you are carrying a healthy amount of body fat. Luckily, it's still possible for you to make muscle gains during this time because you will be using your fat reserves as energy. Once you are at a relatively lean body fat percentage, you can hop straight onto a bulk and start putting on some quality mass. If you are starting out skinny fat, let's say somewhere around 18 to 22% body fat with very little muscle, a recomp could be a decent option in the beginning, where you maintain the same body weight and slowly lose fat in favor of muscle. But one needs to recognize that results on a recomp come very slowly and can only last so long, because at a certain point your body will not have enough fat reserves left to use for energy, and you will require a surplus to keep making gains. So a very slow bulk might work even better, especially if you're on the skinnier side of skinny fat. At the end of the day, guys, we need to remember that muscle is made out of food. It doesn't just magically appear on your body. If you are fat, then you can tap into your energy reserves from earlier calorie surpluses to a certain point. But for skinny people, there is no way to put on muscle without a calorie surplus, aka a bulk. It really is that simple. If you're like 150 pounds and you want to get to 185 or something, you need to eat a lot of food. There is just no way around it. You're not going to main gain 30 pounds of mass onto your body. It just doesn't work like that, guys. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.